And we're back for season 2 of 2023. A whole season done already. And as we head to the middle of March, we are going to open ourselves up to a new run of tracks and also a new series here for RaceSpot Friday Night Primetime. Once again, you have been voting for the series that we will follow throughout this season. Of course, we had a very fun season last, the beginning part of this year with the IMSA iRacing series, but we move to the iRacing Clio Cup Fixed, and we have some certainly interesting tracks along the way. We start here, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, obviously a massively big track for the size of car that we are going, but we do go to some shorter tracks like Scuba there as well. Also, we have Laguna Seca, often a fan favourite, and myself, Cameron Roger, Zach Sweeney joining me in the booth with Iku Mericala, doing the cameras behind the scenes. And Zach, this is certainly landslided the vote. It's certainly very popular. What do you think we're going to expect from these new cars for iRacing?
Well, they're new, aren't they? So it's a bit of an unknown. People really haven't had a lot of time to practice with them, but an interesting combination, it must be said, going around Spa. It's a very long circuit and a very fast circuit for some very, very small Renault Clios, but I'm looking forward to seeing how things get on the sort of the racing style that we're going to have. Only 15 minutes long is the race, so very much a sprint format. People are going to be chucking moves up the inside, I'm sure, and obviously the straight line aspect is something to look out for, but a fantastic calendar overall. If you minus sort of the bigger circuits, I mean, you go to the likes of Scuba and Laguna Seca, those sorts of Single Iron Rock, Alton Park. I think they are going to be some really interesting combinations in cars like these.
Absolutely. So from now, the 17th of March, all the way to June the 2nd, every Friday night, you'll be following along with this Clio Cup. And as I said, definitely landslided the vote. Let's just have a quick talk of the votes. Of course, if you want to get yourself involved in the voting at the beginning of every season, what we follow here on Friday Night Primetime, on the RaceSpotTV Discord, there's a primetime voting channel. And the vote was, pretty severe. 54% of the votes went to the Clio Cup. In second place, we had the Gen 4 Cup Fixed. And then we also had the Formula 1600 Trophy and the Production Car SimLab Challenge as well. But all of them getting around sort of 10, 20% of the vote. So certainly it's a popular one. So we should see some good names. But I'm just having a look at the driver list, Zach. We've actually got quite a range of talents here. We've got people all the way up in sort of 7K iRacing, all the way down to 3K. So certainly a bit of an open challenge for some of these drivers.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's a new challenge, and it's nice to see a variety of talent joining us, of course, in the top split to see what they can do. I mean, we've had a very big change in terms of Friday Night Primetime, as you say. We go from the IMSA iRacing series to this little front-wheel drive, very small engine Renault Clio. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how things get on. But some recognisable names from last season, the likes of Valentin Boni, also Miguel Castro as well, also Dylan Freckleton, for those that can think back to the IRO 4 challenge a couple of seasons ago. He was quite competitive. So, for some of these guys, we've seen them, successful in, the LMP2s, the GTPs and the GTDs as well. And now they're in something very vastly different to what, we've seen them successful in. So maybe we could see a shake-up and maybe, some surprises in the familiarity. But again, it's a new challenge. So I guess we're in the dark really, and only time will tell.
And we go to a completely different form of racing. There's Bonnie goes to the line on a 2:46.6. But look how close those times are coming in. Santarang goes up to the top. We've got Gonzalez now as these first laps are coming in. Just tenths of a second separating these drivers, which is pretty crazy to think. We are coming up towards 3 minutes a lap around here. And just a couple of tenths here and there on a very momentum-based car. That shows to me that it's going to be pretty close racing around here. Because as I say, with the momentum-style cars, you have to really carry the speed through the corners onto the straight, because once you're flat out on a straight line for 30 seconds, if you get a bad exit, you're just going to be losing 10th after 10th. But it seems like we're going to be getting a nice race today, Zach.
I think so indeed, and yeah, you're right. I mean, 4 attempts around nearly a 3-minute lap time. That's not much. And considering it's a new car, those gains are going to be made relatively easy. The newbie gains where people are like, oh, I can brake so much later into this corner and gain a tenth or so into just that corner alone. So, expect, things to change, not just, qualifying definitely does not set the finishing order for the race. So people are learning each and every lap that they do. And yeah, definitely momentum based. Any mistake that you make is just exaggerated as soon as you get to a straight line. It very much is going to be a case of who can limit their mistakes and who can actually capitalize when those mistakes happen. Because if the driver in front of you runs just that little bit wide, these cars, probably naturally prone to a little bit of understeer, they might have to back off the throttle. Then you can get a good run and then capitalize on that. I definitely think we're in for a good race. The long straights as well. Not entirely sure how strong the slipstream is in these Clios, but the straight line aspect of that, it gives you the impression that we could definitely have sort of quite a long train of cars fighting for some pretty decent positions.
We certainly can, and I assume there's going to be a decent amount of a slipstream coming along the ways. Maybe not obviously crazy amounts, but certainly enough to pull you along. As you see most of the drivers completing their lap. Normally you get 2 laps, of course, but I don't think there's enough time to actually do a second lap around here, which means it's basically one-shot qualifying and every single mistake counts. But let's look at the starting grid anyway. Gonzalez on that front row alongside Santo Ren, just 3/10 or about 4/10 of a second separating them, which is not too bad. But look how close these times are behind Harpinen and Garcia on your second row, with Castro and Morelli rounding out your top 6. Just 6/10 of a second. I'm pretty keen with that. And again, even on this 4th row, we've got Jimenez and Bonnie there, just thousandths of a second separating them, showing us it is going to be a close race. Anderson and Pentilla on the 5th row there, rounding out the top 10. Pastor and Young rounding out the top 12. We've got 18 cars on the grid today. We've got Freckleton and Almar there in the top 14. Rocks and Shooterin there in the top 16. Johns in 17th place. And I do believe we have Francisco Falda will be joining them from the back of the grid as well. Standing start in these cars, so something a little bit different. Of course, front wheel drive, when you pull away, all the weight's going to go to the back and make the starts a little bit more difficult in these style of racing.
For sure, yeah. I mean, front-wheel drive cars, honestly, they're not really my cup of tea, in all fairness. And it goes back to when I drove the Scirocco back on GT Sport, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. Get me a rear-wheel drive car, please. I want some oversteer. But yeah, I mean, definitely as the weight shift and you lift up, the front end, then you get sort of less contact patch from the front-wheel drive, which is also driving the wheels and trying to grip up. So then you just get more wheel spin. So you definitely do have to be quite tentative on that throttle pedal and try and build up the grip gradually. But it's not that long of a run in towards turn number 1, so maybe you can, if you do get a slightly poor start, you don't necessarily have as long to turn 1, and you can hang on just about, potentially. I don't know, we'll wait and see, but definitely La Source is going to be an interesting corner as they all get under the brakes for the first time, and we'll find out as to who's going to come out of turn number 1 in the lead. But it definitely all starts from the start, getting your foot down as best you can, and we're about to get ourselves underway, Cam, for season 2 of 2023.
Absolutely. You voted for the Clio Cups, newly added to iRacing. We're underway for Season 2 of 2023. Got all the drivers trying to work their way. Already crashes in the background to start the season. 3 cars already facing the wrong way. We've got Santo Ren, I think, trying to take the lead actually in towards turn number 1 as Gonzalez goes wide. Loads of cars going wide, actually. We're almost too wide further back, and certainly a chaotic way to open up this season 2 of 2023. Let's get in single file formation now. Come through Eau Rouge. How is this going to work with the cars? As of course you want to carry the momentum up towards the back straight. A bit of contact already on the entry of Eau Rouge there, but it seems the rest of them are getting through nicely.
Yeah, indeed so. Side by side over the crest, actually just in behind, but a decent start there from Alexandre Santo-Ren, but Gonzalez is breathing down his neck. Up the Camel Straight, of course, uphill. Definitely going to be a struggle for these cars. Are they maybe even going to go 3 wide, potentially, as happening? Might want to get into the mix. They are very much so close together. Gonzalez maybe trying to go for the move. Who's to the inside of Lecom? Side by side, actually, that fight for second, more so than anything, is Mika Happinen. Gets his way up the inside and moves his way up in a second. Alexandre Santo-Ren making the most of that start and was able to cover off the offense. Now the dip down in towards Rivage. Are there going to be any moves into what is a very, very tricky corner? It seems that midfield, Cam, is actually, going at this guns a-blazing.
Yeah, top lot in a single file formation, but almost 3 wide actually come through Rivage. Don't often see that in some other forms of racing. Down here in 11th place, we've got Almar there on the focus on the screen, coming through this really tricky and fast left hand. I'm sure there's actually not much of a lift off for these cars, running massively wide though over that curb as they're trying to still get themselves into a single file formation, diving it down the inside. Potentially Dylan Freckleton trying to find his way through, but not able to do so that time around. And as we get back towards the front, there's going to be a bit of a splintering of this pack, you'll see, and you're going to see probably what's that sort of top 5, top 6 starting to pull away a little bit for the top lot. But Gonzalez there in 3rd place. He'll be a bit disappointed to drop down to 3rd, but he's still in a good shot as he dives almost up the inside there.
he had to think about it into Stavlo, but maybe thought that the group momentum was more important. He didn't want to let Santoren get away as they run their way through Curve Paul Frere. And you can see Gonzalez there all over the rear end of the number 6 machine of Happening just in front. But again, the slipstream sort of negates itself because Happening gets the slipstream off the race leader in towards Blanchimont for the first time. Definitely going to be a very tricky corner in these Clios, and well, they're going to chuck their way through pretty nicely, all single file, no major discrepancies there. But on the defensive goes Happening, and actually Santoren as well, ducking and diving. Could the white Clio maybe have a bit of a look? I'm surprised actually, Cam, that everyone's still in their single file, and a mistake there from the leader.
Absolutely, Happening's going to get a good run. Actually, no, he's not. He's gone wide himself. Here comes Gonzalez to try and take back these front positions where he was just one lap ago, side by side between the two race leaders. Now across the start-finish line, Santoren actually going wide, potentially actually hindered Happening getting onto that front straightaway. Side by side in the braking zone, still these two go. I've seen Happening drop back there. Garcia's trying to get up involved as well inside that top 4 positions. Even further back, we're seeing some changes all around. Morelli in that 5th place, just having a look at this, getting some flashing lights now, coming down towards Eau Rouge once again, trying to pull into that single file. Yes, Gonzalez keeps that 2nd place, which right on the back of Santoren.
Indeed so, and now the crucial run. Is he close enough? Is he too close, in fact, maybe to properly capitalise through the Camel Kink? And Santoren has definitely got his work cut out for him to keep the train of what the entirety of the top 7 behind him. Pulling out to the left-hand side of shot, the right-hand side of the circuit is Gonzalez as he tries to move his way up into 1st place. 2 wide, 2 rows deep, maybe even 3 rows deep just in the background as well. In towards Lacon once more. Gonzalez and Santoren side by side. Happening, Garcia side by side. Still running their way through in towards Malmedy. Is Gonzalez going to get the space? He dives his way to the inside, retakes the race lead after losing it on the 1st lap. Now potentially they could go 3 wide in towards Rivage. Is Happening, tries to find a way through. Downhill braking once more. Santoren really has to be brave, but there comes the Golf livery car to the inside and an off-cambered corner cam. That's usually the favoured line, but it seems that Santoren's has kept him honest.
Certainly has managed to hold on to that lead. They go back in, but actually a bit further back, so it's about 6th place. But Jimenez trying to battle his way up a little bit as well. Great battles going all the way up and down the track as we've got Valentin Boni on the back end of that one as well. But Charlotte Morelli holds on to that 5th place. Great battles in a big pack, big train of cars as we were expecting. I think that's Jimenez going out a little bit too wide though, might be losing some momentum as we now come downhill in towards the Piff Path chicane as there's Harpening diving into the inside up towards 2nd place. Maybe Gonzalez thought about the lead now, might be going back into 3rd place, still side by side between the two on the exit of the chicane. Gonzalez holds on to that. That gives Santoren a little bit of opportunity up towards the front. Massive dive there down the inside by Morelli, trying to get up into that 4th place. Actually doesn't quite make that one stick, but now Garcia trying to hold it on the outside again as we come out onto this back straight.
I'm absolutely loving this. They've still got 10 minutes left of it, side by side in that fight for 4th. Garcia, Morelli, and also don't count out Jimenez maybe of getting involved, as maybe, Jimenez thought about maybe making that 3 wide, but definitely thought better of it. Side by side just in the background, Garcia, Morelli fighting over 4th as the front 3 seem pretty stationary in their pursuit. A little bit wide off the exit for Morelli through Blanchimont. Could invite Jimenez to maybe have a bit of a look. Any movements in the front 3. Defensive goes that fight for 4th, but no changes amongst our top 3. Bit of a lock-up from multiple people. There goes the move to the inside. That's Jimenez maybe trying to move his way up an extra place. He does so indeed. Now into the top 5, and well, we spoke about momentum. Those in behind, if they can get a good exit, they might actually get themselves involved in this fight.
And with 3 wide, almost coming towards the braking zone for turn number 1 is Jimenez there on the outside trying to hold on, but the 2 teammates going down the inside. Morelli gets that position. They were pretty much 3 wide coming through Blanchimont as well, just showing you how brave you can be in these cars as the top 4 start to break away a little bit down towards Eau Rouge once again, as Jimenez there almost pushing Morelli up towards, or down towards I should say, Eau Rouge, massively downhill before we come up the huge climb over the top of Radion. And that's where these cars will really start to struggle a little bit, so you've got to get the good exit as they try and find the slipstream once again up this Kemmel straight. 4 cars going to be battling in towards the braking zone. Get the 2 teammates go to the inside. We've got Jimenez on the outside there as Valentin Boni tries to slipstream teammate Morelli in front. Can they get themselves past Jimenez in towards the braking zone? Is this going side by side once again? Jimenez on the outside is going to lose that place, going to have to drop back in. And that's some nice teamwork right there.
Indeed so, and well, they're doing themselves a lot of favours, both of them moving their way up, but maybe the counter-attack already is on the cards potentially, as looking to the outside of Rivage. There he goes. Is Jimenez able to mount the challenge? No, he's not, and that could invite Castro. A bit of contact as they run their way through Rivage, then a downhill in towards No Name, Jackie, Speaker's Corner, whatever you want to call it, but backing out, maybe trying to go for the up and under. Downhill run in towards Pawn. He might actually have the advantage and squeezing him all the way to the left-hand side of the circuit. It's not often you see cars go ultra defensive into Pawn Cam, but he definitely felt the need to there.
Yeah, very much a corner in these cars, as Castro did everything he could to try and get past, but they go side by side now, down the hill once again towards the Piff Paff chicane. Jimenez going backwards over the course of this lap. On the inside though, this time around, has the track position. A bit of contact though between the two. We're getting Pastor in the background. Where is Jimenez going to rejoin the track? That could be dangerous. We're getting Pastor in the background. Where is Jimenez going to rejoin the track? That could be dangerous. Somehow missing the drivers. Actually, maybe not in the background. There was definitely a bit of contact, some wheel smoke at least behind that Vodafone sign as they try and work their way through this part of the track. Jimenez, they're dropping down to a 14th place from a potential 5th place at one point as well, just showing you how quickly races can turn around.
Indeed so. I mean, the entire 14 are separated by 7.5 seconds. That's absolutely nothing. Maybe a couple of changes for the lead, because Alexandre Saint-Laurent has been pretty much controlling this race for the last couple of laps, but Gonzalez and Happinen have been hot on his heels. Garcia there as well in 4th place. Bit of a breakaway from the rest of the field, so they've got to be careful. However, the race leader potentially forced to go defensive. Is there going to be any changes? No. Seems the people being fairly sensible. However, a bit of a lock-up there from the race leader as Gonzalez once again tries to set up the move, but Happinen's like, yeah, no, space on the inside. I'm going to fill it. Now a drag race towards La Source.
Is that a replay of about lap 2 when Happinen did the exact same thing as Gonzalez, trying to push Saint-Laurent down towards turn number 1, got Garcia, that car in behind this 4-car breakaway towards the front, actually diving down the inside there, goes Gonzalez, 3 wide on the apex. Garcia's going to be following through as well, almost 4 wide as we come downhill towards Radion. We do not know who's going to get the run, as we're getting a double slipstream here, and it is side-by-side Saint-Laurent on the left side, Gonzalez on the outside as it's going to turn towards Eau Rouge. We've got Happinen going through as well. Gonzalez takes the safe option as Garcia gets the run up the top of Radion.
Oh my word, and look at what it's done to Gonzalez. He's completely tanked his momentum, and either side of him go Morelli and as well Garcia trying to follow him through. That is disastrous for Gonzalez, who's fallen his way all the way down to 6th. Valentin Bonney as well ahead, and that is just absolutely disastrous. Just goes to show what we were saying about momentum. Inside line potentially, maybe trying to go to the inside of Lecom, but Gonzalez, yeah, it's a no-brainer. He has been completely mugged off there, trying to get his way back past Garcia, looking to the outside of Malmedy after a bit of a twitch there from Garcia, and well, there we go. Gonzalez, easy peasy, up now into 5th place, trying to recover. Unfortunately for him, the top 4, I should say, haven't really broken away, because this is a train and a half all aboard the Saint-Laurent Express.
Yeah, that is some pretty crazy action you saw about. Of course, Gonzalez had to get out of it so much, just lost that amount. Here's 2 cars not getting away from the start. Almost everyone getting past, but unfortunately 2 cars in the background there making past. I believe that was Anderson and Petela, who unfortunately, just didn't move off the start. I don't know if they missed the start or if they couldn't find first gear, something like that. And yeah, just getting collected. That's what happens when you're in that mid-pack and you've got all the drivers coming in behind you. They can't really see, and you just naturally expect the cars ahead of you to sort of move out the way effectively.
Yeah, you're not expecting people to be stopped on the race line. It's ridiculous, but yeah, it's unfortunate. As actually, there we go, Saint-Laurent. There's a mistake through Stavolo, going to leave him wide, and the tyres a little bit dirty. Could allow Happinen to close the gap and get the run off Curve Paul Frere. He's definitely been able to close it. Is it enough for him to spark a move for the race lead? Saint-Laurent is definitely, his heart is going to be racing. He is under a lot of pressure now. The Finn may be trying to have a bit of a look. It seems the number 4 machine might be able to hang on to this, provided he can defend the bus stop, but Happinen was very well and truly hot on the case, because as soon as he saw the mistake, he was there to try and pick up the pieces. Now, is he going to try and spark any sort of offensive maneuver? The answer to that is no, and I think that was a lucky break there from Saint-Laurent.
Yeah, it's doing a good job though to hold on actually for the amount of laps as we have, as we come across the line. 3 minutes and 50 seconds roughly, so there's 2 laps to go in this race, and I have to say we got to really give a shout out to the teammates in behind here as well, getting themselves up into the top 4. Saint-Laurent there trying to obviously get the best exits he can out of this first corner. There's really Charlotte Morelli there in third place, who actually, I think, got one of the best exits as we come down the hill. And that's, of course, going to turn into a massive slipstream up towards the Les Combes chicane. Hopefully Gonzalez doesn't lose places this time around, but it's a bit more at racing speed. But certainly this was a 6-car battle as we come on to the final couple laps. A great start to the Clio Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. What a way to kick off the second season of 2023. And Miguel Castro making up the rear end of it. It could very easily spark into a 7-car train, but beyond that, definitely is a bit of a breakaway. Here comes Santarém, though. Defensive all the way to the inside, happening. Give him the squeeze. Morelli trying to get involved as well. The white Clio all the way to the outside, tries to squeeze his way past. Now inside for the second part of Les Combes. There's Morelli trying to get the up and under. Has Santarém got the legs to maybe send a move back up to the inside of Malmedy? Indeed, he does. Morelli with the momentum, bit of contact as they run their way through. Now in towards Raj, happening on the outside of an off-cam big corner. That is definitely going to be tricky, but he's brave enough on the brakes. Is he going to send that Clio all the way around the outside? Indeed he is. Santarém comes back at him though. Are they still going to be side by side as they dip their way back down the hill in towards No Name? I am sure this battle is far from over, Cam.
Santarém goes massively wide. That's going to give Morelli the run down towards Pouon as well. Bonnie in behind trying to push their way through. Almost actually a bit of contact as we come towards the braking zone. Morelli there up the inside towards second place. Santarém down to third in the space of a couple of corners. This is a great battle as it is, I think, 7 cars now towards the front. All as we're trying to now fan out towards the braking zone. We got Santarém there in that black car on the inside trying to get back up in towards the position that he lost this time around. Gonzalez still in with a shout as well. Great racing here at Spa-Francorchamps, and just showing you how you got to be a little bit tactical about when you make your moves.
You really do. It's a game of chess, not checkers, so you got to, think about your moves a little bit more. As a couple of squabbles in the background, Dylan Freckleton dropping to the back end of the field. But yeah, you really do have to think about it because every move has a consequence. Here's a fight, actually, the fight for 11th, as we cut away straight back to the fight for the lead, because anything can happen at a moment's notice. It really is a very, very short fuse, and there we go. There's Valentin Boni pushing Santarém in towards Bonchemont. Sandwich between the two undercut sim racing cars is Santarém, who was leading the race not too long ago. However, times can very quickly change. We're coming on to the final lap of this race, potentially 3 wide in towards the bus stop. There's the move potentially. Santarén's forced to go defensive. Here comes Valentin Boni to the outside of the bus stop. That's not quite going to work on this occasion, despite the very aggressive send to the second part. Now this is it, Cam. This is where the moves truly matter.
Yeah, certainly. Moving on to the final lap. Inside the final minute, 15 minutes of action around here to start Season 2 as we're side by side for the podium places, which is great to see. Gonzalez, though, on the outside, trying to make it work. Is that going to be a bad run, though, as we get Garcia now trying to come back on the inside. Teammate Castro in behind as well. This could work out quite nicely for them, as Gonzalez is potentially going to be losing places once again. He was side by side, lost all the momentum up the hill just a couple of laps ago. This time around, he's going to keep his foot in. Yes, he does, as Castro has to back out that time, and that could actually cost him a potential place on the podium later on, because they're going to lose the momentum all the way up this Les Combes straight now, as Santarém in the front foreground trying to get up that position in towards second place as well, as they're all weaving around trying to break the slipstream. Morelli coming towards the inside, Santarém towards the outside for second place on the final lap, side by side between the two, as Morelli just holds on at least for now.
Well, I think it's not been a calm race at all, but now is the time that things ramp up to tenfold, because Happening is going to try his best to hang on. Charlotte Morelli up there in second place, slowly moving their way up into competition. But Happening, this is it. This is the the middle sector now. You've got to hang on here and then make sure you have a good run through the final sector. Fortunately, the middle sector here at Spa, there's not really many ways through, so as long as you keep it clean, you should be okay, unless your name is Valentin Boni, because a bit of a mistake out of No Name could see potentially Gonzalez going for a move, but I think everything's going to be okay as it was. Now as they approach the final sector of this race, this is where everything counts. Everything's been boiling down to this. You need to hit your marks exactly right. You need to hit your apexes. You need to get your foot to the floor. You need to make sure you've got a better run than that person in front of you, particularly if your name is Charlotte Morelli, because, well, they're going to want to try and get the best run possible and maybe spark a move for the race lead. Not long left to go in this race, Cam, and it could come down to pretty much anyone, I think, inside the top 3.
Certainly could, yeah. I don't think if you're outside that, you're going to have enough braking power in towards that final chicane, but let's see. Let's open up down this back straightaway for one final. And let's see how this one works. Happening leading the way. Actually, it's got a good gap towards Morelli, about 0.4 of a second as we come up towards Blanchimont. That is working out pretty nicely. So we got Castro and Garcia there in the background trying to work their way up towards the front if they can do. But Happening still has a good shot here. 0.3 of a second as we come through Blanchimont. Morelli in that second place. Santa Ren, who led the race for so long, in third place. Is there going to be any huge sends down towards this final bus stop chicane? Morelli goes to the inside. Santa Ren goes to the inside, but it's going to be Happening now. There's actually Bonnie there in that third place trying to get himself on the podium. Gonzalez as well, almost been a contact between the two, and it's going to be Harpinen who takes it across the line from Charlotte Morelli and Santa Ren to get on that podium, but it's Valentin Bonnie just in behind. Great battle to start the season here for the Clio Cup Season 2 of 2023 for RaceSpot Friday Night Primetime. Great battling up and down the field, and just showing you that we don't really know how everything is going to finish. But Harpinen there sat in that third place for quite a while, but made his way through to the front. Zach, that was certainly a great way to start the season.
I think so indeed. We were a bit skeptical about Spa and the combination of these cars, but these guys well and truly delivered, and Harpinen really did take the strategical game to full effect, was able to sit there, wait for his moment, pounce on that moment, and then do the job of defending and maintaining the lead despite the constant pressure of 6 cars all queued up behind him, waiting for their go to strike. But definitely a fantastic race. I mean, we had the drama, we had the chaos, and everyone side by side, but only 6 laps, 15 minutes here, Cam, and this is how they racked up.
Top 7 within 2 seconds. I absolutely love it when you get a series like that. But yeah, just confirmation there. Mika Harpinen, they're on the winning spot for this race. 6 laps, as you say. Although it was actually Gonzalez there a little bit further. Garcia a little bit further down, lap 3, getting the fastest lap of the race, which just shows you it's not all about winning the race necessarily. Morelli there in second place. Santa Ren in third. Bonnie in fourth place with Gonzalez rounding up your top 5. Castro, Pastor, Young, Jimenez, and Alamar rounding out your top 10. 18 cars on the field. But yeah, just top 10 inside 7 seconds, which is pretty great to see, Zach. And I think that's just going to open up probably a world of opportunity for what we're going to get, later on in the season.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these cars and the tracks that we've got in store for us over the course of what is now the next 11 weeks for season number 2. There's some really good combinations, as we were talking about before the race, the likes of Alton Park, Lime Rock. We're going to take another look here. Some very tight and twisty circuits, but also, quite some fast and open ones like we had here at Spa. I think there's a good balance and a good mix. And, well, these are the types of cars that you can take anywhere. And in all fairness, they will deliver because, as we saw today, if you can get a competitive enough grid where drivers are close enough and, well, definitely willing to take those chances, you can have a good race wherever you put them. So I'm really looking forward to watching the rest of season number 2, and it's been a pleasure to kick off the start of the season here because, in all fairness, I don't really think there's much that can top a season open like that. You had 7 cars all within a shot of winning, all within 2.5 seconds come the checker flag. It really came down to positioning and who made the smallest of differences, put themselves head and shoulders above the rest, that was able to actually get themselves the victory in the case of Mika Happinen. But a very deserved podium, and it really could have gone down anyway. But yeah, 2023 season 2 here for Friday Night Primetime. I think we're in for a really, really good one. Okayama up next. I'm pretty confident in that one too.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good season. Of course, lean towards some of the shorter tracks, so we'll see how that one works. And yeah, every single Friday leading up to June, you're going to be enjoying some nice Clio Cup action as you're voted for Season 2 of 2023. Myself, Cameron Rogers, Zach Sweeney taking through the action today, and Iku Merikala behind the scenes. You should be joining by the voices of a changed crew for next week. I do look forward to that one. So from us, it is farewell, and we'll see you next week. So goodbye.